good. You are good. I'm not so good. I'm just not going to get panicked anymore about stuff. It used to be stuff like this in the morning when I forget to put when I forget to put the post up with the link and everything, that I would be like dithering and whatever. I am so sorry. Busy morning so far, and I got the show ready, and I thought, look at me. I'm ready to go, but I forgot to post the link. I'm so sorry. So I think our buddies will find us as in the next couple of minutes as we get going. So I'll start by saying, how do you all do it? How are you this good that you just know? April, how do you know? You just do. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh man, I need some sense. I need like is there a flavor of coffee that's called like sense? Like you know, um yeah, I need something. You know what it is? I think it's the melatonin. Is it possible that the melatonin gummies are giving me brain damage? They're all they are is melatonin. But I swear to God, when I wake up in the morning after taking a gummy, my eyes are out of focus, so probably that's not good, right? And my brain is scrambled. Everything is like disjointed. It's so strange. It's not like it's a sleeping pill, but is it a sleeping pill? I'm just wondering because I really struggle coming out of it. This is the kind of thing I do. I am so sorry. Welcome to Ribbon Candy Hooking. I'm Deanna. Great to see you back on this Monday morning. Sorry about the struggle with not posting it on time and all of that. April, great job getting on here. Good to see you. Robin, great to see you this morning. That big block of cheese and the cow. Great to see you. Happy Monday. Linda B., you are always here too. You are also good. Great to see you. Sunny in New Jersey. Okay. I think it's going to be a rainy day here, so that's where the sun is at. I think it's coming our way tomorrow. We'll see what happens. Ooh. Okay. See, there's all kinds of things going on. I am so sorry, everybody. Okay, sound. There we go. Welcome back to Ribbon Candy Hooking. I'm Deanna. I think I'm going to make an edit for this video once we get up there. I think you can probably hear me now. Okay. Yep. Mom, you're there. I thought you were going to art class. Sorry about that. Everything has reset. I can see that. So hopefully I'm good. Great now. Okay, super. Whew. Challenges. Challenges. Isn't it such a funny world when you are forced to deal with changes in technology? You know what I mean? Isn't it a funny world? It's so strange because there's like this one part of life where it's like technology, right? I don't even know the right word for it. Phone stuff, computer stuff, technology. And that part keeps changing, and you're supposed to stay on top of it, whether you like it or not. If you want to use it, you have to stay on top of it. And then there's this other part of life or I can go into like CVS or Walgreens and they have like payday bars again and like chunky candy bars because everything nostalgic and old is back and you liked it 50 years ago and you can get it again, but then you can't get your phone to be the same again. You know what I mean? Like I can't make this thing work the same as yesterday or this thing, but I can get a payday bar. I mean, it's just very, very strange. Life is very strange right now. I guess we are at the crossroads of many things. Sorry about that, everybody. I will edit that out later. Great to see everybody on this Monday morning. Welcome back to Ribbon Candy Hooking. I think we're good now. Oh, first 45 minutes. Sounds good, Mom. All right, great. Well, let's start the show. Sorry about that, everybody. Catherine, great to see you. Your last morning in Colorado, then you're driving back to California. Oh, I hope you have a safe trip. I'm sure you will. I bet it's a long ride. That's all. Um, yep. So let's. Hey, Dave. Sorry, I posted everything late today. So if you're thinking, oh, what happened? It was me. It's not you. It's me. It's always me. I have this pretty photo behind me today. It was actually at the beach last night. We had such a nice day yesterday. It was a pretty good weekend. Um, Busy, extra busy with the kids and everything. It's summer and they're here every day, but particularly busy on the weekend when there's more choices. And Jocelyn's been big on. Jocelyn, do you want to show one of your masks? She's going to show you one of her masks. She's been making these paper masks constantly, constantly. And we are now people who travel with a giant suitcase, hard-sided suitcase that's filled with masks because she changes her masks while we're out. So yesterday, here she comes. We went to the book barn. I mean, it is a work of art.
Wait, can I show my new one?
Yeah, show. These are, okay, these are, you know the long light bright sticks now that you can do loops with? These are light bright sticks. These are like earrings. These are pom-poms we got at Joann's the other day with pom-poms within them. This is netting that we found at Joann's. It's actually a ribbon, but it works really well. Oh, I just noticed you put the black pupil in there too.
Mm-hmm.
So you can still, does it make you feel like you're cross-eyed or the opposite of cross-eyed?
Take a look.
A little bit. Okay, let's see. And the snout, right? The three-dimensional snout. It fits my face different. Yeah.
You can see them.
No, actually, I can see fine. I can see fine, but I have a bigger face than you.
Yeah, I see little dots in the middle. Wait, can I show my new?
Show your new one. So she does these three-dimensional snouts and stuff on them. It's very exciting. It's just, I have to make sure the car is empty and the trunk is empty, so we can bring like 15 masks, and she changes them as we go. Yeah, this one is excellent. Yep.
So this is a puppet.
Yep, that's a puppet. And one side is dark, one side is light. There's some serious dualities happening there. And you want to show how it works? Come here, sit down. Yes, so she built this last night at about 1 a.m. And it's made with paper and glue, right? For your kids, grandkids, maybe this is an inspiration. I feel like it should be made with something a little bit stronger, but you see how she built in an elastic jaw that she can open her mouth and the mouth opens. You remind me of one of those raptors. Yeah. I mean, that's incredible, Joss. And she's got the net over the eyes. This was the project that prevented us from sleeping, which was the reason I woke up late and everything that followed. But they're amazing, Joss. They're amazing. I mean, this really is something, right? I mean, it really is something. I'm not mocking you. All right, let me start the show, baby. See, you want to check your comments, see if people are noticing? The weird thing is when she has the bird mask on, she moves like a bird.
This is not a bird.
What is it, a dinosaur?
I don't know.
Okay, lizard. And when she has the cat mask on, you definitely move like a cat. All right, so you're going to give me a paper cut and I'm going to get angry. Just kidding. Okay, go. Let me start the show. I'm already late. Off she goes. She's so talented. It's crazy. Okay, and she doesn't have pants on, which I didn't notice. Hopefully you didn't notice that either. Dear, oh dear. All right, let's see. Chrissy, great to see you. Happy Monday. Happy coffee time. I'm sorry, everybody. It's me who's late today. Melissa, great to see you. Another heat wave. Oh, no. Canada, you are getting the worst of the heat this summer, I have to say. Holy moly's. A lot of people love your mask, Sunny. Costume designer, sculptor, exactly. Who knows? Yeah, she does do amazing work. Catherine, I sent you a message the other day, and I have a new message for you today. Updated message. Something new. So it was a great weekend. We went to the Book Barn. And if you are in New England, maybe you know the Book Barn. It is in Niantic, Connecticut, which is on the water. So in the summer, you deal with the traffic, and I already had that in my head, so I wasn't triggered. But it is in a town that is on the ocean. So, and it is known as the Disneyland of books, of used books. It is an enormous store. I think there's 4 locations right now, maybe 3 locations. They open and shut locations and combine stuff as time goes on with rental situations and whatever. And man, it was great yesterday. For me, it was great. For my husband, it wasn't so great. We looked for different kinds of books. But there were quite a few rug hooking books there. All of the books are either $1 or $4. So it's amazing because a lot of them are new books. Now, I had all the rug hooking books, so I left them. But there were a lot of new quilting books, and I get a lot of ideas from quilting and embroidery books too. There were tons of new ones. Something must have happened because somebody dropped off about, I don't know, between 80 and 100 books on Navajo rug weaving. And it's not my specific area of interest, so I didn't buy them. I felt like if somebody stumbled upon that collection, they set up a specific display just for it. I know we've done episodes on Navajo rug weaving, but it was a great find. But it would have been, even at $4 or whatever, it would have been a lot of money. But somebody's priceless collection of really interesting Navajo rugs, but again, wovens, right? They're not like hand hooked or punched or something. They were wovens, but really interesting. I got a lot of quilting books and stuff like that. I mean, I bought maybe like, I don't know, 10 books, and it came out to like $32 or something. It's incredible. It's incredible. It's so much fun going there. And one of their locations, they have goats outside, and they have this giant oversized checkers table. I think they have both chess and checkers, and tons of stuff for the kids to do, like a little kind of rundown playground, a little bit dangerous. You got to keep your eye on that. But it is such an unusual place. It's such a lot of fun. And we did that, and then we ate at our local dive place, which we love. It's so bad. It's so bad. But the kids love it. And I always bring in my stack of books and look at them while I have an oversized glass of wine that is like $4. I mean, it's, you know, can't complain about that. Jessica, happy Monday. Great to see you. So that was fun. But when we drove home, it was a little bit later in the day, and I thought, let's stop at the ocean. And we stopped at the ocean at Hammonasset Beach and parked way out at Meeks Point. And we did the walking trail there right to the tip of the water, with the water alongside the whole way. I took some beautiful photos that I posted on Facebook of the kids walking and stuff. But I saw this view as soon as we left the path. This is my chair down here. That stripy thing is my chair in front of the green screen. But I loved the way the path kind of walked you in under this wild brush, and then there's a big clearing with like rocks in the ocean. It was just absolutely beautiful. Diane, great to see you. It was such a great relaxing day that yeah, I came home and I panicked about not getting any work done. So we were up super late, and then I woke up late, and then I fooled around with technology, didn't I? So I'm sorry about that, everyone. I hope that you had a relaxing weekend too. It was beautiful weather here. I can't believe that it's almost August. It's so awful. Every day has been filled with so much stuff, and in that regard, it's been great. But it's just gone by so fast, you know. When I went to see the Fantastics close this weekend, I wanted to go one more time. I just didn't have the time. My favorite musical of all time, the Fantastics, closed, and when I saw it a few weeks ago with Teddy, there's one line in it that I've always known because I've known this musical forever, but it went something like, um, um, it's after the boy goes away, something like, I forget how the verse goes, but he ends up saying, "We're all 1 month older. The world has gotten colder, and we're all 1 month older," something like that. And I thought that's such a funny line. It's so ominous, and then they play like a discordant key, you know, on the a note on the piano. But it is a bit ominous thinking about how quickly time passes and how fast even 1 month goes. Is kind of crazy, isn't it? It makes you nervous, makes me nervous thinking about it. I know there's a specific phobia that is fear of time passing. I remember that from the show Jonathan Creek. But yeah, I think I might have that. I think I might be developing that as time goes on. Everything is moving so fast and time is going by so fast. If you remember on Friday night for the gallery night show, which I thought was a fantastic show, as usual, all beautiful stuff was sent in for gallery night. I mentioned that I had just recorded the best video I've ever recorded on hooking the face of the witch for Hat Head, right? The piece Hat Head that I'm working on. And guess what happened after that? As soon as I logged off, I checked to make sure I couldn't edit the video because it was too large on my phone, and I wanted to be sure that the video was safe. So I updated my Google Photos, and then I checked Google Photos, and I saw the photo that I took during our live show on Friday. So I thought, perfect, we're up to date. So I deleted it from my phone because it makes a copy so that I could keep editing it in one of the programs, and then it disappeared from the program because it was deleted forever. And it didn't save to Google Photos. I don't know if you know this, because it was too large. I did not know that because every other video I've ever shot is in Google Photos. So I lost that video. I have the first few minutes, but it was a much longer video that I was going to speed up, and I didn't handle that well, right? I didn't do anything really bad, but I was very disturbed. I was very disturbed on Friday night. So it was good that I had a relaxing weekend. I reshot some of the video because I thought it was my best video ever. It's very disheartening. I reshot much of it so I can put that up later, but at the moment, part of it is on the computer and the part I reshot is on my phone. So I need to figure out how to put those together, and I'm just so busy right now that it's crazy. I'm so sorry about that. I was so excited to have the best video ever for you for over the weekend. I did the one on working with bat instead. But man, I don't know if you could tell by my tone, my demeanor, I was super upset at that moment. It was bad losing something like that. That for me was like big chunk of work that I was really happy with. whatever, technology, whatever. But it was a really fun show on Friday night. I hope you caught that. Last week, when we were on together on Monday, we started looking at the new ATHA magazine, and it looks like this. So this is the summer issue. ATHA is strictly a bi-monthly. So whereas Rug Hooking Magazine goes to the format of 3 over the summer, ATHA is still, this is the August-September issue. So ATHA is still doing this as a bi-monthly. I haven't had a chance to write to anybody and find out what is going on with future conventions or what the plan is, because remember that they have changed the wording of the convention, the one in Texas, from the ATHA biennial to the ATHA convention. And I'm wondering if that has significance. Does anybody know or not? Or if it's just a shift in language. I thought it was interesting. I always enjoy ATHA magazine. Saundra Ives is doing a beautiful job. Everybody who participates, works on these magazines, this is a labor of love, of course. I know from putting out a magazine now myself, it's a lot of work, right? It's not a money project. It's a lot of work, and it's always beautiful. This one in particular is a great favorite of mine because it covers a subject that is very unfamiliar to me. It's uncharted territory for me, like portraits, right? So a lot of what we're seeing in this specific issue of ATHA are stylized and very realistic portraits, mostly family portraits and family stories. So for me, this is like my favorite issue so far because the theme is very present. It's very easy to tell what the theme is and to really dig in. It's, okay, let me start here. It's filled with such great work from people all, every ATHA chapter. And I just want to say as a disclaimer, as usual, I'm not picking the ones that I think are the best and ignoring the other ones. It's just that these shows are short. And I pick some that I think are different, represent different things. But all of the work in this magazine is astonishing. All of it is. Every single thing. I hope you subscribe to ATHA. I hope that you have this in your hand when we look at it together, or I hope it's about to come to you in the post because every issue is fantastic. So let's come over here and let's see. Coffee time. Coffee timesies. Let's see. There we go. That's just what I wanted. So this piece is called, oh, When Stars Aligned. What a great name. Oh, that is so magical. Let me just say hi again because I'm coming to you late today with all of my stupidness. Shannon, great to see you in rainy Vancouver. And When Stars Align, new to the channel and new to rug making, really enjoying your videos. Thank you so much. Keep us updated on what you're working on. We'll have another gallery night coming up in 3 weeks. Lots of stuff in the meantime. I forgot to renew my subscription. That happened to me, Sharon, and I didn't realize I missed a bunch of issues. That's how fast life goes. I didn't even realize. But luckily you can get right back in there, right? And everybody always has back issues, right? Everybody has back issues. You always see back issues of ATHA and Rug Hooking Magazine. So I'm sure sooner or later you'll have all of them complete. It is so much fun to have the whole collection. It really, oops, wrong show, represents, it really represents what we do, right? And the chronology of everybody's work. Did you see that sneaky peeky right here? That was the last thing. That was Chrissy Glenn's rug that she found that we looked at on Friday night. And I just wanted to say, she sent me some images because she started wondering if it's a kilim rug, if it's actually a woven rug. So I'm going to look at them when I have a little bit more time, but she sent some images that were stylistically, that rug from the last one we did on Friday night for gallery night didn't look to me like a woven rug. But when she showed me some photos of other kilim rugs in that style, the pattern was quite similar. So I'm going to have to look at that a little bit more closely. But that was like a fly in the ointment. I just was completely confused and not sure anymore. This piece is called Little Soldier Boy by Georgia Kimball of Atlanta, Georgia, and this is the Dogwood chapter. Beautiful, monochromatic Little Soldier Boy is 16 by 28, done in number 3 and number 4 cuts. And Georgia wrote, the year was 1942. The war in Europe was raging. 3-year-old Dickie, my future husband, loved his uniform. He looked forward to wearing it when he and his grandfather went on patrol for blackout compliance. Since I had always loved the picture of Dickie in his uniform, it seemed to be the perfect choice for a class I was taking with Donna Harkman that focused on hooking with monochromatic colors. So this is so perfect. This is super perfect. What a moment in time, right? There's something so evocative about this rug because it's such a gentle, sweet photo rug, depiction of a boy who's quite happy and proud. He's got a little smile on his face. And in contrast, you think about the war, just getting started, really, and everything that's about to happen. There's such darkness there. So this is the way the rug looks, and you see maybe on the corner of this slide, um, there's also this. I think I can put them. Yeah, I can put them side by side. So absolutely beautiful way to work from the photograph. In the rug, she's turned Dickie a little bit. Isn't that interesting? She's turned him a little bit. It looks more like he's about to do his little patrol and start marching than he stopped and posing for a picture. I like that this little sideways smile is the same in both. I hope everything went well for that family. It is a beautiful, beautiful photo. It's a beautiful rug. So hard to work monochromatically. I think Donna Harkman really is known as the master, right, of this style. Really limited color palette, and even like duochromatic work is very hard to do. You've really got to be careful with contrast and with the intensity of your colors. Otherwise, there's just not enough definition. It's very hard to do. But when it's done right, it looks like this. I can see the sidewalk also is at an angle. It is a more interesting composition because if you notice in the photograph, the sidewalk, that crack in the sidewalk between the, cement pieces is at a little bit of an angle. Now, you really never want that in an artistic composition because it looks like the horizon line, but not quite straight, right? So that would immediately be confusing. So you would have to either take it out or move it. And what they've done, what Donna and Georgia have done with Georgia's piece, is to angle it differently, right? And it's a smart solution to what could be a bad mistake. Because if it looks like the horizon line, then you expect to see a shift in the way that the field is filled before and after the break, the line, the crack, the split. Really beautiful. Also interesting to see what's kept in it and what's been taken out of it. I like that little dark bush. It does good contrast against the face or on the sides of the face like bookends. A little bit of sky or a suggestion of buildings over on the top left. Kind of lonely tree, a little bit stark, but focus in the hook drag really on the boy and not on the street and the surroundings. They're both very interesting. Same season, right? With the leaves and stuff down on the ground, you can tell that it's probably heading into autumn. So really beautiful piece, really well done. Another great portrait. The article is longer, but if you have this, oops, sorry, wait a minute. If you have the issue, you can also check out the articles, right? Read a little bit more. And again, I'm skipping over lots and lots. There's a lot of advertising, right? And we already know that. So Jessica says this is so charming. Monochromatic would be a fun challenge. Jessica, you are always looking for a challenge. I'm not surprised that you said that. I'm sure that you could handle it, no problem at all. I know I couldn't, but I think you could. And I'd be so curious to see what you chose as a subject. So this piece is by Susan Clark of Thornhill, Ontario in Canada. This is the Woolwrights chapter. And this is Bronwyn and Jinx, two great names. What a beautiful piece. Hooked and designed by Susan Clark. This is 23 by 18, number 3 and 4 cuts. All hand-dyed door wool plus textured wool, velvet, sari silk, and yarn. So much fun. So much love in this piece. There's a few things going on here that I think are exceptional. And there's a later piece that I'll show you in this episode that has the similar device going on. I'm just moving forward to it. Just let me look at it really quick. Yeah, there we go. Just making sure it's not the same person. Interesting. So Bronwyn and Jinx. So a few things going on that are amazingly good here. One of them is the background, right? It almost has a mid-century modern feel, using just blues and grays and blue grays, doing a few geometrics as like an all-over kind of wallpaper or more formulaic hit or miss fill. is smart. It's really smart because it's a large triangular field that you want to fill because the shape of the body with the cat is creating such a strong angle. That's part of the story, is the way the cat is, like, she's holding the cat leaning back, right, to accommodate the weight of the cat, make the cat feel secure. So she's leaning back and it creates an odd shape. And if you don't want to fill and you want to keep the focus of the composition really set solely on Bronwyn and Jinx, then you really need to think about a fill for the background that's not distracting. And this is the perfect thing because it's a pattern. It reads as a pattern. It looks like it was done in a hit or miss style, not exact. Oh, Karen, it's not you who's late. It's me who didn't put the post up. It's good to see you this morning. Doing a fill like this gives such an interesting background to the piece, but it distracts not at all from the actual subject. So very smart fill. Also, the fisherman knit sweater, right? It's almost making me itch looking at it. It's so realistic. It's incredibly realistic. And she's actually used like an army green / brown to do the darker parts as opposed to a black. I think that's a good call because then we're not looking at stuff that is really, really high contrast. The cat, Jinx, is high contrast, right? That's the part that is, I'm going to stretch it open a little bit. Hold on just a second. Let me unlock. I want to look at this a little bit closer up in case you don't have the magazine in front of you. Maybe you can see that a little bit better. It is a photo of a photo. But yeah, using the greens, I think, is much softer than doing the cables in a black, right? And it's also more effective in three-dimensional than doing it in like a vanilla or a tan. She's got the tan values in there. She's got the lighter values in there, and she's got that high contrast value in there. And it's making it look like the cables on the sweater are very high relief, and they always are. They always are super high relief, right? Because it's such thick yarn that they use to make these kinds of sweaters. That works beautifully. I love the highlight on her forehead, on Bronwyn's forehead, is so realistic. Her eyes are shut. She loves Jinx so much. It's just, it's such an amazing handling of a sweet moment. Jinx has the look of most cats, right? He's probably loving in theory being held, but he also looks very distracted and alert, right? As they do when you pick them up. It's like, get me back down. I mean, not some cats. Certainly my cat, Pitter Pat, is like that. She wants love. She wants love. She's in your face. She's on your lap. She's ruining your work. She's got fur. She got her tail in the coffee, and then you try to pick her up and give her attention, and she's like, no thanks. But this cat, Jinx, has the funniest, I think, such a classic cat expression on his little face. And did you notice the whiskers are done with like single fibers? It looks like single fibers, maybe thin thread, maybe actual thread. Looks like the little whisker on the eyebrow and then the actual whiskers on the sides of this little snout are done in a much thinner fiber, but absolutely beautiful. So she's saying silk and yarn. So maybe it's the yarn. Yeah, it's probably just thin pieces of yarn. Absolutely beautifully done. That background, besides being just a beautiful, interesting, but not distracting fill, was probably very fast to do too, because um, she's saying she did 3 and 4 cuts, and I'm just looking at the cuts and thinking, is that a 4 in the background, or is the background a wider cut? It looks like a much wider cut to me, but I could be wrong. I'm just comparing it to the other cuts throughout. The color substitutions in her hair as well, and her face, very warm color substitutions, right? Reds and yellows that are way, way warm. So that's interesting too. It's a very sweet piece, very sweet subject. Most of the pieces in this issue of ATHA, I have to say, would be quite difficult to do, right? This is like super high level of skill. Lots in the bag of tricks, leaning toward realism, most of these. This one is interesting because it's not completely realistic. It has a big graphic facet to it. This piece is called Feeding the Chickens, and this was done by Vicki Hansen of Portage, Wisconsin, which is ATHA Region number 7, and this is the State Line chapter. Vicki says, the inspiration for hooking this piece came from a family photograph, a suggestion from my mother. The photograph is of my maternal great-grandmother Matilda feeding her chickens. As a child, I often looked at this farm scene photo that hung in my grandma's back bedroom. The project was the most challenging hooking I've done, but also the most rewarding. Using the photograph as reference, I drew the pattern on linen. For the most part, I used a 3-cut wool, unframed it. Unframed, it measures 24 by 12. That's quite small. Vicky writes, it was interesting to bring a black and white photo to life in color. That's a good point because we're seeing a lot of monochromatic work in this issue. That is an interesting point. I never met my great grandmother, and as I was hooking this piece, I wondered what she felt and was thinking at this moment in time. I've also raised chickens and know the contentment that they can bring. How nice is that? The article is much longer. It's absolutely beautiful. But I want to look at the piece because this one, it was hard to put the two images together. Let's look at the photo as well. Such a beautiful photo. She does look content, doesn't she? And it's such an interesting composition because it's a black and white photo. It's so dark. There's so many chickens. They came out so light and they're matching the dress so well. Everything else seems to be falling into the background. It has such a classic Victorian look to it. It's a great composition because it's a composition of multiples, all of those chickens, and then just the one woman. So there's a great piece of storytelling here already. There's some chickens who have come close, who want to eat now. There's some chickens who are eating in the background, right? So they must have some feedback there as well. Ooh, interesting. Interesting. I just noticed. Okay, Vicky's using elements of the design behind the great grandmother. Um, Gosh, let me see if I can, hold on. Let me see if I can put them together. It's best if we can look at them together. It depends, sorry. It depends on how large. Let's see. Let's see if we can do it just a little bit together, if that's possible at all. It's always interesting to look at things like this side by side. I'm still working on it. It might not work because they might be both too tall of a photo to do since I don't have it cropped. And I'm not going to figure that out live, but let's see what we can see. No, I don't think it's going to work, is it? No, because they're like on top of each other. Well, I can maybe put them side by side a little bit. Trying to see what was kept and what was left because that's always such an artistic part of rug making. That's okay. That's pretty okay. Let's see. We're getting there. I'm always curious about that part because lock. And there we go. That's okay. Lock. Okay. It's good to talk through these kinds of decisions. Now I see what looked like a slope was actually the road on the left, heading off into the distance. The background is a little bit angled, and that is confusing in both. Well, it's not confusing in the rug, it's artistic in the rug. But in the photo, it is hard to make out the distance, isn't it? It's an old black and white photo. Vicky's done remarkably well converting this into a color image and choosing what to keep. It looks like more of a pastoral image as a hooked rug, partly I think because of the color, but partly because she added a lot of green, right? Instead of just having like this dirt farmyard, it's very green and it looks a bit more idyllic, doesn't it? So that in itself is, I think, the first choice and the most remarkable choice. She's really managed well to keep the posture of the great grandma. She's kind of got her body turned a little, and she's definitely paused. Right? She's paused. She's enjoying this moment of looking at the chickens. She's not. She's not just doing a chore and moving as she goes. She's actually stopped. So you can tell by the stableness of the figure in the hooked version that she's in it for a while and she's paused. I'm sure partly for the photograph, but also to look at the chickens. The fact that they took a photograph of her feeding the chickens must mean that this was not like a dreaded chore of the day. This was something that she must have looked forward to. Otherwise, they wouldn't have, documented it and taken the time to take a photo of it for all, for posterity, if this was something she hated. So she must have loved the chickens. And it's funny now that Vicky also keeps chickens. It had some beautiful kind of continuity about that. I love the anonymity of the face, right? This is like the Canada face, Vicky is from Wisconsin. But you know, when we talk about that Canadian style that I feel Dion Fitzpatrick really pioneered with the anonymous face, really promoting that style, I think has done a lot for rug hooking because for me, with whether we're talking about fiber arts or fine art, hanging in galleries, for me, there's always a weird disconnect when I look at a portrait of someone I don't know. Because it can be interesting, it can be well done, but I have trouble relating and connecting to images of people who I don't know. And maybe that's a weird thing, maybe it's just me, but I also know that rugs that are of portrait rugs don't sell very well. And portrait art typically doesn't go for as much as, for example, landscapes and scenes that are more universally relatable. Interesting. So I feel like in rug making, when you make a face more anonymous, I feel like you are making the image more accessible to more people. Whether or not that's something you want to do, that's your personal choice with your rug always. But I feel like it is a good move to make faces a little bit abstracted so that more people can look at it and you know, it's not like people are completely self centered and they can't enjoy looking at a piece of someone else's life or a moment from someone else's life. That's not what I mean. It's just more relatable. You know, you can see yourself there. It's more the story of a woman feeding chickens than it is a specific woman feeding chickens, if you see what I mean. And it does make a difference. Sorry. Oh, Olivia, great to see you. So these were absolutely beautiful images, both, and the way that the feeding the chickens is hooked up, I thought was remarkable. Now, I moved along a little bit further, and I found some images that were really small. So this one was really small. Portraits from the Miami Valley chapter. This is ATHA region number 6. Chapter rugs gathered by Jan Gitz of Camden, Ohio. Again, the Miami Valley chapter. So there's a couple of rugs I want to show you from this spread that I thought were interesting. This is one of them. This is untitled, and it was hooked by Janice Betts of Lima, Ohio. Now, I'm going to make it a little bit smaller because it's a small photo. So there's already an issue. I mean, I'm showing it to you larger on the screen than it is in the magazine, which is tricky, right? Because we lose quality. Now, help me out here. I looked at this and I thought, man, that's different. This has got to be a character from like Star Wars or Star Trek, right? And I'm thinking not Star Wars because I don't recognize it, although I could be wrong. But maybe it's something like new, like one of the new Star Wars movies or something. I don't know. But it's untitled, so there's no further information. And it just made me stop and go, oh, what's going on there? It's very different, isn't it? It's a super realistic and well done portrait. I feel like I recognize this person. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's like a family thing and it's, I don't know. It seems like a scene from something, doesn't it? I just didn't recognize it. Maybe it's like a movie. Let me know if you know, because it's so well done and it's such a great composition. It's so unexpected with the guy down low with what looks like a little, maybe a vehicle, definitely like a tank, but then some other little vehicle or some kind of little character working out some kind of a war game scenario, and then all of these characters that are completely fantasy characters behind him, like a montage, and then this great composition in the sky with this sort of pinwheel happening and an lumpy, for me, unrecognizable type of an aircraft in the sky. Unexpected. It's all unexpected. It's so different than everything else in the magazine. I was wishing that that one was a little bit bigger. New Star Trek could be Melissa. I feel like I recognize the guy. I feel like he's an. I mean, I would never know the name, even if you said it to me. I wouldn't know the name, but I feel like I recognize him from ads and stuff. And I just thought that is so different. It's such a cool portrait. It's handled so differently. Um, yeah, I'm not a big like. I loved Star Wars and stuff. I'm not a big. I love stuff from growing up when I guess my mind was a bit more open to fantasy. And as I get older, it seems like I wish it didn't work this way, but I have less and less interest in anything fantasy because I'm so rooted in reality and busyness in the moment. I wish I was a little bit more whimsical like I was when I was younger. So I don't know a lot about fantasy shows and genre shows like this, but I would say Star Trek is a really good guess. Um, yeah, it's a cool portrait. It's so different. This is another one on the same page that was also really tiny, and this is also by Janice Betts. So same person, right? Same person as the one that we just saw before, um, of Lima. So Janice Betts of Lima, Ohio. Um, oh, he's playing with the toys and figures. Are his imagination? I think like one of my boys grown up. Yeah, it seems like he is doing that. I wondered if it was from a specific scenario, like a specific episode. I just wonder. It's so perfect. Like the face is so perfect. Um, yeah, and I wondered. There seemed to be characters in the background that somebody might know. Maybe not. Maybe not. But there seemed to be like those bands of coins or belts with, all the dots, the dit dots. Um, yeah, it's so unexpected. It's so different. There's also the white glare on like the polished tabletop on both sides at the bottom. It's such an involved piece, and it doesn't say how large it is either. Really different. Really different. And again, this is the same maker, Janice Betts. I want to get to know Janice Betts. She's doing some really different stuff. So this piece does have a title. It's called "Leave Me Alone." It's race day. And I love this piece. It actually says on it, "Leave me alone, it's race day." So the racing stripes are in the background, the checkers, right? The checkered flag for racing. That's one thing I know about racing is they wave the flag and then the cars move. Um, what I love about this piece, again, it's super unexpected. It's very artistic, just like the one before. Really, really different. What it says to me is the man, right, is completely immersed and lost and inaccessible because it's race day. This is where he's at. And the fact that he's buried, not even all of him, right, just the head, his head is buried in the racing flag, and it's all about race day. It's not like a portrait of him watching. It's not a kind of contrived still life of him as a figure with cars or whatever. It's just him lost and unfinished, inaccessible, buried in a flag that is synonymous with car racing. So and he's got his hat on, like he's a true fan. It's so cool and different. You have these kinds of pieces in the one before too. You have to reach a little bit. You have to reach for it. It's not right there on the surface. It's unexpected. There's a layer of storytelling, like a personal sort of film over the piece that Janice knows what she means. We can only glean by guessing what putting together parts of these compositions and saying, okay, this one is more straightforward, partly because it has a title and because there's text. But these are both such well done pieces. They both blew me away. They were so different. In the grand scheme of things, this is a beautiful spread that they're on. But you see, they're the two smallest images of this spread, and my eye went right to them because and everything on this spread is stunning. But my eye went right to them because they were quite different, and I wanted to know a little bit more. So okay, so let's see. Let's move on. We're going to keep going, trotting right along, right? Um, oh, this is a beautiful one too. So this is My Daughter by Debbie Bryant of Overland Park, Kansas. This is the State Line chapter, region number 8. My Daughter, hooked by Debbie Bryant. Impressionistic portrait of my daughter, adapted from a photo, designed in collaboration with Tamara Pavich, in a workshop sponsored by the State Line Rug Hookers ATHA chapter. Absolutely beautiful. Just there's something so you can tell that this was done with so much love, right? The daughter's face, the openness of the daughter's face, like just that bright, open love, right? Just glowing. It's just such a beautiful portrait. Debbie must look at that and say, God, that's her. I just love the color substitutions in this too. It's so whimsical, right? It looks so. I love monochromatic, and I love that kind of realism in portraiture. But I personally love to see color substitutions because it infuses the character with so much more light, right, and whimsy. It's so different than looking at something done completely in black and whites, which is challenging and does have a lot of prestige and comes out amazing, and is still super artistic and creative. It's just color substitutions are very specific. It's very difficult to do, and when they're done this well, it's really exciting. The hair is great. The tones of the face are great. When you break down and think back to hold on, wait a minute. We saw in the last Janine Barocious, Janine Barocious. I always say her last name wrong. We saw the Butterfly Girl in the last time we looked at this copy of ATHA. So that was last Monday. Her self portrait, the Butterfly Girl. We looked at that, and she talked a little bit about the technology that makes it possible to hook in the way that she does. You can use it. Maybe the same technology was used here. I don't know, but using programs on the computer that really lay out for you where the tones change, what the tonal value is. If you know the tonal value is mid, light to mid kind of thing, then you can take pistachio green, lilac purple, or a true flesh tone, bring it to that tone and use that as a substitute, right? So it's just a question of plugging in different colors, but you have to be spot on with the tone. It has to be the same tone. Otherwise, it's not going to work. It's going to come out a mess. So it's fun when this trick works. It's interesting to me that this piece is done with so many color substitutions. That nice neutral ground, very stable of the shirt, and then the very traditional rug hooking background with the paisleys in very traditional primitive colors. Right? It's a real combination. Right? It's a clash of all of our rug hooking techniques and rug hooking whirls. Um, Judy says, I think it's called posturizing. It could be. I don't know that word, Judy, but it absolutely could be. I missed saying hi to Anita. I love them all too. They are so well done. April says, I let my subscription run out and I would really love to have this issue. I will check and see if I can still get it. Yeah, you might as well call them and ask them because I'm sure they like to sell stuff, right? They want to get it too if they can. When you start a new subscription, it usually takes a while and it might not be this issue. So I would just give them a call or send an email. Another beauty. This is called Bathing Beauties. I love this one as well. I love this one. Diane Mate of Arlington Heights, Illinois. This is the Foxy Ladies rug chapter. Also, the Loopy Ladies rug chapter. Ooh, there sounds like there's a lot going on in Illinois. A lot of fun. This is just gorgeous. So this is hooked and designed by Diane Mate. When planning to attend a workshop taught by Tish Murphy, I knew I wanted to try hooking a 1920s photo of my mother and aunt when they were teenagers. I always loved the tiny, charming black and white snapshot, but wanted my rug to have color. So I researched swimsuits of the era and added the stripes and color for a vintage look. It appears to be a windy day with hair blowing in the breeze and white caps on Lake Michigan. God, what a moment. And then the article is longer about the process of putting it together, but I absolutely love this. These are two beautiful women, statuesque, beautiful women who are done so well. I love the vertical hooking on the legs, right? You can see the shadows. It looks like it's getting to be the later in the day because the shadows are like very, very, very deep, aren't they? Lots of dark. Not everything is bathed in light. There's really dark shadows. So beautiful. The costumes are beautiful. They look so modern. They bear such a strong resemblance to each other. The way that the ground is diagonal. Remember Little Soldier Boy at the beginning? That nice, warm, very multicolored, very colorized, highly saturated colors, warm reds, browns, a little bit of lighter greens and violet pops, right? In that diagonal ground. It's interesting to have a diagonal ground. It is beautiful, isn't it? And then it's a layer cake, isn't it? We've got the ground, and then we've got the blue sea, and then we've got the distant blue sea. That's that really dark teal navy color, and then up into the sky where the clouds are perfectly circling like a wreath around the women's heads. So beautiful. Lots of horizontal hooking in the sky with the exception of the clouds that are tinged with yellow. What a perfect day. This is an extraordinary piece, and you can see it's signed on the top and dated on the top. It is absolutely an extraordinary piece. Did you notice how in the border there it looks like, I don't know if it's hooked or if there's something added to the top, to the northwest and the southeast corner. just a little white square. I wonder what that is. That's really, really interesting. Oh, with two antique buttons on a crocheted edge. Okay, she writes it at the end. God, that's beautiful. It was chosen for celebration and won other additional recognition. I wish my mother and my aunt had been able to see the rug. Me too. God, it's just gorgeous. And just the familiarity of the two, right? The way that they're standing next to each other and so relaxed, being close to each other. There's just something so companionable about this piece. It's just gorgeous. This was an interesting piece too, and of course I am skipping a lot of examples that are amazing and fantastic, um, and I'm just going toward things that I thought were quite different and worthy of talking about because they were different. This came out of a section called Family Portraits by Joyce Rickenbach of Leola, Pennsylvania. This is the Woolwrights. This piece is called Hands and Feet, hooked and designed by Joyce Rickenbach. These are the hands and feet of her grandchildren and great grandchildren. Note, the foot on the upper right hand corner is the foot of a grandchild, and the flag, the hand, is the child of that grandchild. Interesting. Isn't that interesting? So on the top right alone, the bottom of the boat, the body of the boat is the foot of a grandchild, and then their grandchild is the tiny hand that's like the kite coming off of it. So this is a composition that is made up of collected hands and feet from over the years as children are born, collecting the hands and the feet of maybe adults too. And I think it's so clever and fun putting them into this composition. It's a very childlike composition. Some of the aspects of it might be inspired by children's drawings, but just having the size and the shape of the specific handprints and knowing who they belong to is so special and so different. It's a very busy composition because there's lots of them. There's lots of grandchildren and great grandchildren. I mean, isn't that such a lot of fun to think of a fun and colorful way? It's actually a very clever way because we're seeing a dark ground and then we're seeing it's clearly water, but it's darkish water and it's a little bit turbulent. It rises and it falls, and then a light sky behind. The three layers, another layer cake, the three layers are really distinct but neutral, and they're not distracting from all of the other motifs in here that are all of the individual hands. I think working them into boats and looking like fishes and looking like sea plants, right? Feet coming up, hands coming up from a plant, like coming out of the water, out of the ground. It's clever. It's very, very clever. It's a great vehicle for being able to use all of these hand and footprints and making them colorful, putting them into storytelling context. I see like a cat and a mermaid popping out of the waves too. I'm wondering if those are children's drawings. I'm thinking probably. She's really made a collection in this piece of all things grandchildren and great grandchildren. I think this is so special, right? It's so different. I absolutely love that piece. I'm going to run over, but of course I started late because I'm a ding dong. So this is another great piece, working from a photograph. This is one of my favorites in this issue, I have to say. I just love the subject. Saundra Porter of Seaford, Delaware. Mother with, this is ATHA region number 3, mother with a fishbowl. So let's look at the photograph first. Sorry, we should have looked at that first. Such a beautiful photograph. Hooked and designed by Saundra Porter, a monochromatic I hooked of my mother holding a fishbowl while she was pregnant with me, hooked using number 3 through number 6 cuts. I also attached a poor black and white photo. Well, you know, it's enough for us to look at. And it's not poor. I think it's beautiful. There's so many clues about the mother here. She's just gorgeous, isn't she? She's got makeup on. She looks gorgeous. She looks like a Max Factor ad. Her hair is perfect. She's got a lovely, probably clip earring, right? Her eyebrows are shaped beautifully. She's got nail polish on, probably bright red. And her hands are curved in such a soft way, making eye contact with the goldfish. It's just amazing. The shape of the goldfish bowl is beautiful to me. The roundness of the shape, the roundness of her hands is just absolutely beautiful. The way that she's smiling at the fish is just gorgeous. She's a gorgeous woman. This is a gorgeous rug. I mean, all of the elements are there. She's kept the set of her mom's mouth. the hairstyle, that feeling of it being a period piece, the roundness of the bowl, the roundness of the hands, the monochromatic feel to it is so right with this piece. There is something really magical about the coming together of these worlds, the world of the grown-up woman who's about to have a baby and the world of the simple life of the fish inside this tiny bowl. He's got a tiny world, right? Not much to think about, not much to worry about. It's just a gorgeous piece. It's such an interesting relationship between the fish and the woman. It seems so. It's a cheerful piece, isn't it? I love the set of her face. I love how engaged she is, and I love the response of the fish that is in the photograph, coming right up to see who it is and what's going on. Just a beautiful piece. It's another absolutely gorgeous piece. I'm going to keep going. Now, this is the piece that reminded me of a rug we saw earlier. So let's come here first, and then let's talk together. Some of the, I have to say, as I was choosing these, some of them made me immediately start crying because some of the stories are so sad and poignant. You know what I mean? And I tended to not choose those because then it's hard to run the show. So it's a very emotionally charged issue because we're talking about portraits, and a lot of people chose portraits of their family. Just wanted to say that, not in relationship to this one. This is called A Girl and Her Dog. I Can Do This by Maureen Arnaud of San Antonio, Texas, the Heart of Texas chapter, ATHA region number 9. And this piece is called A Girl and Her Dog, hooked by Maureen Arnaud, designed by Maria Barton, Star Rug Company. I love Maria Barton. She has an article coming out in the next Magpie Times, and she's also hooking a piece for the Haunted Rug book. She is a friend. She's a great person. This piece is 20 by 21, hooked on primitive linen. Now, I want to talk about this piece, but I just want to show you. I'm going to hold up the piece we were talking about earlier, and it's the Jinx and Me piece. So look at this piece, clock this with your eyes, and then look at this piece. And check out the relationship, Jinx and Me, between Jinx and Bronwyn, between the black form of the animal and the relationship to the person. And then come back here and look at this one, because it's different, but there's some of the same things going on, and it's successful for the same reasons. The shape of the dark pet curled up, right, comfortably curled up against their person, makes a really strong story. It gives almost an Art Deco look. You know what I mean? The way that this girl is curling around the dog, and the dog is curled up to her, and the way, just like with Bronwyn and Jinx, the way that it's kind of the interlocking of paws and arms it's a hug. It's a hug with an animal. This one is using layers of color as well. The other one had that kind of wallpaper feel to the background. Keeping it simple in the background, I think, is essential with portraiture and storytelling. If you want the story to be the relationship between the person and the pet, then you have to keep everything else simple, right? It's different if you're feeding a barnyard full of chickens, right? That's a different composition altogether, apples and oranges. But just a relationship with two people, a woman and a fish, a girl and a dog, a girl and a cat, you have to keep it simple, or you're going to lose the heart, that central part of the storytelling, right? And maybe it's your idea to put a lot of other stuff in it, and it's more of a montage piece, right? That's different. But as a portrait, this works very, very well. The relationship is very firm between the girl and the dog, and the way that the dog is nuzzling into the girl is so familiar for anybody that has a dog or a pet. You know, you just recognize the body language of being so secure and so cozy and happy. Such a sweet piece. I love the girl in silhouette. I love her little foot overextending the dog, and how he fits right against her. The simple coloring of the sandy beach and the blue water, although there's lots of interesting directional hooking happening, it keeps it neutral, keeps it simple, keeps it easy for our eye to read what's really important. I love the black border on this piece because it brings in the shape of the dog, which is perfect. It's perfect. The shape of the hair, and then right out to the dark border. It's really smart piece compositionally, and really lovely to look at. Beautiful sentiment. That's the thing about this issue. It's very sentimental, and it's great seeing people and pets who and that are important to hookers that we know and our groups of hookers. It's a window into someone else's life when you can see the people in their life. For example, My Family Portraits by Mary Watson, Seattle, Washington, the Northwest Rug Chapter. This is ATHA Region number 11. Uh, on the left, my maternal grandmother from a photograph from 1909, and on the right, my mother when she was 20 in 1942. So paternal grandmother and mother, right? And there's a father also in this page by Mary Watson. But I was focusing on the two women because in both of these examples, we are looking again at some very interesting color substitution. And Judy, what did you call it? You had a word for it that I'm sure, posturizing, maybe posturizing. It's so interesting in both, handled differently in both. But I do love it when this happens. It adds so much color, and for me, mystery to images that are clearly taken from a black and white photo. I think in both cases, um, it's you get a real essence, a feel for what that woman looked like. Partly from the way they're dressed. Both of them are dressed in a very specific way. I'm sure part of it is the costume of the period, but also personality, right? A sweater with a little, very structured, starched collar peeking out, and on the left, a little bit more of an old-fashioned high collar, but looks like more of sort of a bohemian costume, just gauging from the lines. Absolutely beautiful. In both cases, the women look dreamy, right? So that's romantic in and of itself. The example on the left, more of the color is done in the background. Few color substitutions in the hair and face, which came out perfect, but a little bit of confetti hooking in the background, which creates so much interest. So perfect. Another great way of handling a background, right? A little bit of confetti makes a lot of sense to me. The one on the right, the color substitutions are more in the face, also the hair. So there's not much going on in the background, right? Most of the story and most of the color is in the figure, is in the portrait. These are both so beautiful. Um, there's not a description here of the cuts and stuff, or I would tell you what the size cuts were, but they look like fairly wide cuts to me. It's just these are so well done that every loop counts, right? Honestly, one or two loops, maybe not one, but two or three loops, could really change the way that the face looks if the loops are in the wrong place. So difficulty level with these kinds of images, with these kinds of rug projects, very high. But when it works out, yeah, major prestige and happiness, right? This is a spread, so I won't go into each individually, but I just wanted to give you a feel how this issue of ATHA is to go through page by page. There's so many spreads that look like this. Family Portraits by Carol Orlov of Prospect, Kentucky, the Buffalo Trace chapter, also the Puckahudler chapter, ATHA region number 6. Beautiful monochromatic and duochromatic examples of family photos. Absolutely beautiful, beautiful, amazing color contrast. Captured family photos beautifully in textile. I could talk about each one of these at great length, but I just wanted to give you a feel for it's not like some of the images we're seeing in this issue are beautiful and others are different or whatever. Every page is gorgeous. Every page has a spread that's like, wow. They're all amazing. And the one I'm going to end with is um, by Grace Collette, who is one of my favorite hookers. Sorry, I gotta find it. There it is. Sell Ice Cream by Grace Collette. And so I've covered Grace Collette many times on the show. I hope to many times again. She always shows up in person. She's always there. She's active. She's busy in several guilds around her area. She is Raymond, New Hampshire. So this is the White Mountain Guild, ATHA region number 1. This is the New England states. Um, I just love this piece. We looked at this piece in person when I went to the show in Montpelier, the White Mountain Show, maybe 2 summers ago with Kaz. If you want to be liked, don't be a boss. Sell ice cream. 2 of my grandchildren at the fair, hooked and designed by Grace Collette. 2 foot by 3 foot. Beads and sequins, number 3 cut wool. Just gorgeous. The magic of the fair, right? If this piece was not in ATHA this time, I would be using it for Magpie because this is a great fair image. But I'm very happy that it's in ATHA because I think obviously more people are looking at ATHA at this moment than Magpie, but we'll get there eventually. Such a beautiful nighttime image. Two kids done in a little bit of an old-fashioned style. It reminds me of the way that children were done in the Big Eye era. I can never remember her name. Margaret. Remember, it was her husband who pretended to be the guy and who did all the paintings, and you know who I mean. It looks like children of that era. Like it looks like a little bit older style of the children. It's so sweet. The hairstyles, right? Carrying the ice cream. They want to be liked. They're going to sell ice cream when they grow up. Just a suggestion of the festivities at the fair. The ribbon on the bottom left, the balloons. They're holding hands. They're happy. They're not fighting. Well, that's a good start, right? The very stylized lines of the roller coaster. That's all you need. That ramp coming down terrifyingly, and then the diagonal grid of the roller coaster, the lines of the Ferris wheel, very, very simple. Keeping it simple because if, and I know this from experience, trying to draw compositions that include fair elements, you can't keep all of the Keen. That's it. Thank you. It's Keen. Thank you. Margaret, was it Margaret Keen? Um, you can't keep all of the lines in, or it becomes a chaotic construction of a skyscraper photograph. You know what I mean? Too much steel all over the place. You have to stylize and make good choices, and Grace always makes good choices. She's such a pro. But beautiful, simple lines. You perfectly understand that there are super fun rides and several of them behind. They're coming away from the rides. They've got their ice cream. They're not going to go on a ride anytime soon. They both have enormous amounts of ice cream to eat, and there's fireworks going off. So talk about a magical night for kids. They're up late. It's dark. It's summer and it's dark, so you know it's late. They're having ice cream. They're riding rides. They are having a ball. It is what being a kid is all about. It's summer and being a kid. It's a beautiful, beautiful portrait. Two of her grandchildren. Sell ice cream! Exclamation point. So cute. Well, everything in this issue is amazing. I just love, I just love this issue. And let's talk about the upcoming issues. So it's probably that we touched on this the other day. It's probably that I don't know what the theme for the next ATHA is because they work very far out. So the next deadline that you need to be aware of is October 1st of this year, 2024, sports rugs, right? That's the next shout out that they're assimilating content for. So that's the next one. And then the one after is the deadline is February 1st, 2025. And that is from the garden, fruits, veggies, flowers, right? So just so you know, those are themes that are coming up. I love that ATHA works to a theme. Magpie also works to a theme. I think it makes things more cohesive and it gives people a starting point. So if you're wanting to submit stuff to any magazine, it's good to know what they're likely to take, right? You want to know what they want so that you're likely to, if you're going to bother sending something in, you want them to print it, right? It's good to know what they're looking for. So at the back of the magazine, they're always showing you what the shout outs are for future issues. So interesting. All right. So I'm going to work on, I'm so late waking up because these children are making me stay up so late. They are crazy, feral children and night owls. It's making me stay up late, and then I'm tired and trying to come out of the stupid melatonin. It's hard. But I'm going to work on some orders and get some orders out to you today. I'm going to get out, I think I have the last Halloween haunted rug images that people have asked for to send. I'm sending 2 of those out right now. Um, yeah, and then I'm working on my pieces. I'll return to Hat Head. I'm going to attempt to use press and seal, and I asked, because of the wool bat that I'm using on Hat Head, I asked Kirsten for specific directions about using press and seal because I know she uses it. And I understand that you put the press and seal on the back of the piece so that it doesn't pull the loops out. But I sent a message to Kirsten and said, my worry is that the press and seal, which you stick like, it looks like you stick like glue, it's like saran wrap, onto the back of your piece, and then you put the piece on the comb. My worry is that the press and seal is going to shift and pull out the loops slowly. You know what I mean? Does that not happen? Is that me being an alarmist? Because I said to Kirsten, press and seal reminds me of, for example, let's pretend, God forbid, that I was falling off the roof of a building. And she was standing on top of it, and she said, give me your hand so you don't fall. And I grabbed her hand. Well, say her hand was like moist. Okay, this is very specific, I know. I would slip anyway, wouldn't I? Does press and seal work like that? Do you see what I mean? Does press and seal work like that? I don't get how you can cover the whole back of the loops, because now it seems to me like the press and seal has the ability to move all of the loops that the comb touches, not just the one loop, but now they're all attached on the back by this one film of press and seal. I feel like logically, I guess I'm going to find out, and hopefully it's not going to be find out like editing a video and lose the whole thing. But I'm just wondering if it's possible that once the press and sealed is adhered to the whole back, I'm worried that all of the loops are now vulnerable if I stretch it over my metal comb teeth and it starts pulling a little bit. Isn't it going to pull all the others in the same strand of loops, or am I overthinking it? I would love to know. Let me see if anybody answered that, because I'm not sure that Kirsten answered. Press and seal. Okay. Karen says the press and seal stays put. It's great. Based on that recommendation, I'm going to do it right now. Just because I want to move the piece on the frame, and I've got my biggest frame out, and I haven't been able to because the press and seal arrived yesterday, and I was too scared to try it and too busy. So I'm going to try it right now. Karen, I trust you. I trust you in all things. I'm sure it's going to be fine. Just scares me to put any backing on it. You know what I mean? Because I'm guessing then you don't take the press and seal off, right? Because then you would pull out all the loops. The press and seal stays forever, right? And then we are assuming it is absolutely an archival product, and that in 20 years it's not going to. I'm going to let it go. I'm going to give it a try and see how it goes. And thank you. Thank you for that. Happy Monday, everybody. Happy week. I will see you again on, is it on Friday? I think we're going to meet on Friday. Thanks, Linda, for sending the message to the phone about no sound at the beginning of the episode. Let me just check the calendar. I'm hoping that, Friday should be fine. Yes, Friday should be fine. I want to go to Water Fire this weekend in Providence. It's a full lighting when they've set all the fires on the Providence River and they play music and dance and stuff. It sounds very ritualistic, but it's really beautiful. So Friday I'm free, and I already asked Rebecca Martin of Storyteller Wool if she would do a live show with me. So let's see if that's a yes. She's still recovering from the trip and the week at McGowan and coming back into real life. But my plan is to be with you live on. I will be with you live on Friday. It'll just be a question of what our content is. So we will figure that out. Huge shout out to ATHA Magazine. You all are doing such a good job over there. It's just crazy. Absolutely beautiful issue. So anxious to see and hear how the convention goes in Texas. I'll be on my way to Tigger at that point in the opposite direction in Canada. And I can't do too much more than that because my event is coming up in October too. I'll see you all on Friday. Have a great week. For Magpie stuff, please send to magpietimesmagazine@gmail.com. Send Halloween stuff, autumn stuff. That will be for the upcoming issue. Deadline around April 5th, maybe a little bit later. For anything else, gallery night related questions, haunted rug related, write me at ribboncandyhooking@gmail.com. Be looking out later. I'm starting a new Facebook page for people who want to work on writing projects and want to have regular Zoom calls, maybe once a week, just half an hour, where we talk about writing projects that we're working on and work toward it. I'm going to set that up. I think I'm going to call it Ribbon Candy Writers Club or Writers Group or something like Writers Circle. I'm going to be doing that, and I'll post a link to it in our Facebook group. And it will also be online. So once you're in and you know when we're meeting, I'll be there. If you want to work on writing a book, you can just be there and we can be brainstorming together. I want to make a situation where if you write a book and you want Ribbon Candy to publish it, I can do that too. I'm now getting well into the groove of publishing my book. I'm going to publish all my future books, and I want to publish a bunch of books through Ribbon Candy. that are other people's rug hooking and rug making books. That's an option. You don't have to do that. You can just join in the Writers Club and work on your book and self-publish it. It's just another option, right? But I want to get that up this afternoon. Maybe I'll do that right now. So be looking out for that and be thinking about whether you have a story as a rug maker to tell. I know a lot of people think, well, I have one book in me and it's my life's work. And other people thinking, well, I've been thinking about this series, right? Either way, it's going to be good to brainstorm and talk about pratfall areas together, right? So be looking for that a little bit later, and I'll remind you next time I see you. Have a great day, everybody.